G'day YouTube, how you going? I have an XR250R 2004. It's one of the smaller displacements in the XR range. This is before CRF, so 04 model, last of the XRs. Around there, the XR650 or 600 still gets made in America, but not available here in Australia. Now, you're going to want to pull, if you want to pull out, if you want to change your cam chain, you either, let's see if we can just get that to focus. You can either split it, or I didn't feel like splitting it, so I replaced the whole chain, which requires you to remove the side, which requires you to take off the clutch, which requires you to take off that nut and that bolt. Anyway, all that's changed. I've got a new cam chain in there. The trick with this one here was to focus. Trick with this one here was to bit of brass to tighten it back up to get it to torque. All wet torques. They're all oil torques. Everything needs to be oiled up. And the focus has gone again. My apologies, I'm just using a little handheld. Anyway, so I had issues with this. I didn't know how I was going to do it. The manual says you need a special tool which pushes on the face. These are in the front, in the back here. Little face, that round face on each four of these. Normally there's a plate that belongs on top with 4 nuts with your springs. That's what holds your clutch in. Currently it's off. Now, so to install it, you need to unstake. I think that should have to be a bit further in. I'll have a look at that. Anyway, you have to unstake the nut. The old nut is here. When you unstake the nut, it is not reusable. There are ideas of people that reshim them, so you put a shim underneath, but I decided just to order a new nut. It's $5. It's well worth it, in my opinion. And then you peen that edge over. But to put it back on, you need to torque it, and to torque it, you need to hold this in place. The inner hub. The outer hub goes to the main bearing. That's the piston, goes up and down there, pushes on the main shaft. And then that goes into this clutch on the outside. You see the gears in the back there, or maybe not. Anyway, and then it goes through the clutch into the transmission. So it's the inside of the transmission, which is connected to the front sprocket, which is connected to the chain, which is connected to the rear wheel. You might be seeing where I'm going to go here. So the trick to remove to tighten this nut is to, there's my torque wrench. Anyway, put that down gently. Don't drop your torque wrench. The trick is to come around the other side. You need to somehow block the rear wheel, or block the rotational force. So this is when you try and tighten that, it's going in reverse, which means it's going anti-clockwise here. So technically the bike's going backwards. So it's a self-tightening nut, not a normal. Anyway, won't go into that. I put the sprocket back on. I replaced that sprocket, got a new one, and how many tooth is that? Do I put the 13? Yeah, I'll put 13 on. I might have a 12 or a 14. If it is the 13, I might go back to the 12. Or I might have put a 14. Anyway, that's irrelevant. Sorry about the little tangents. Nonetheless, I tied my chain around. I have got an old chain. You can probably do it with your new chain. You can either put the rear brake on by reinstalling the brake, but I had a spare chain lying around. So I literally put the chain around the rear wheel. As you can see, there. So all it's doing is coming around, and a bit of tie wire, and as I tighten it down, it's just going anti-clockwise as if it's going backwards. Pulling on that, I need to make sure I push that chain there up where my finger is there, that one. And it pulls on the whole rear axle, which isn't even tight at the moment. It's as you can see, it's loose. So I probably should tighten that before I tighten it. Anyway, I haven't torqued it down yet. Nonetheless, that's my little tip. Now, the reason I pulled this apart, in case anyone's interested, is because I was losing compression. So I put new rings in it. Got the barrel honed. I need to put all the camshafts and everything in there. I've been waiting on these nuts to come from Japan. Anyway, so there's my tip. Chock your back wheel either with the brake. As the brake, you'd need to reinstall it. Well, let me we do this. The camera's buggerising up again. Either with a rear brake, off the brake with your chain installed, or install your chain the ghetto way like I've done it. So there's a ghetto way to tighten and torque down this front nut. 108 Newton meters it is in my case. Let's go to the manual. There. And they want this weird tool to do it up, but I don't have that weird tool, and it's $100 and something tool. I'm not even sure if they make it anymore. Alright, cheers, thanks for watching. Any suggestions, put them down below, and have a good one, guys.